Hello everyone, welcome back to this video series on SDTM programming with R Tidyverse for clinical SAS programmers. In this series, we will see how to implement key SDTM programming concepts using R. We will take a quick look at the SAS program for the same concept and then see in detail about the R program. Please note that the complete explanation of the SAS program for this concept is available in a separate playlist. I will leave the link for it in the description of this video. In this video, we will see how to create study day variable in SDTM datasets. So we will use vital signs data set as an example. Let us quickly take a look at the specification for VSDY derivation. So the derivation algorithm says if the collection date is on or after the reference start date, then VSDTC minus RFSTDTC from demographics dataset plus 1. Else if date is before reference start date, then assign as difference between VSDTC and RFSTDTC of demographics domain. So we also know that these are character variables. VSDTC and RFSTDTC are character variables, and we need to convert them into numeric and then obtain the difference and add plus 1 if it is on or after the reference start date. So let us quickly jump into the SAS program and then see how we can derive VSDY. So here I am creating a copy of DM and calling it as DM01. Similarly, I am creating a dataset called VS01 using existing vital sign dataset. And then I am sorting both of them based on the values present in uSubjID variable. And then I am merging demographics dataset to my VS01 dataset. And at the time of merge, I am fetching only uSubjID and RFSTDTC from demographics dataset. And I'm keeping all the records which are present in VS01 dataset. All the records of the subjects who are present in VS01 dataset, and the name of the output dataset is VS02 here. So we know that RFST DTC and in fact any DTC variable in SDTM is of character data type. So as we need to get the difference between two dates, so we need to convert them into numeric first. So this is what we are doing here in these two lines of code. Here we are trying to convert RFSTDTC to numeric into a variable called RFSTDT. So only when the length of RFSTDTC is greater than or is equal to 10. So if the length is 10, which means that it will be a partial date and it cannot be converted to a numeric date. Similarly, we are doing the same processing to on VSDTC to create a new numeric variable called VSDT by using input function. So we know that only date component is present in ISO 8601 notation, so it is equivalent to the format of YYMMDD 10 dot. So that's why we are using this in format YYMMDD 10 dot to convert them into numeric variables. And then we are actually creating our VSDY variable in these two lines of code. The condition was to check whether our collection date, which is nothing but our VSDT, is prior to RFSTDT or on or after the RFSTDT. So here we are checking if VSDT is less than RFSTDT. So if that was the case, we were just asked to populate VSDY as a difference between VSDT and RFSTDT. So we are doing that here. And else if it is on or after reference start date, we were asked to populate VSDY by obtaining the difference between VSDT and RFSTDT and add 1 to the difference. So we are doing that here. And then we are dropping some unwanted variables here and creating a dataset named output, and then we are again sorting the final output dataset based on subject ID, test CD and date variable. So let's see how we can replicate this using R. So let us open the R Tidyverse program on the left hand side and the input datasets that get generated using this R program on the right hand side. So here I am loading some packages. Mainly we will be using the functions from Tidyverse package. So there are other libraries loaded, other packages loaded, but most of them are not used in this lesson as such. So as in the previous videos, the input dataset that is needed for this lesson is stored in a program, and I am calling that program in this program using source function. So this is equivalent to our %include statement where we can execute the code available in a second program within another program. So The next here the code is more concise here in R. So here if we see, we are creating a new dataset called VS01 by using VS dataset as input, and to which we are merging our DM dataset but using left join. So which means all the records which are present in vital signs will still be kept even if there is no matching record in DM. So and then we are merging DM and vital signs based on the values present in useOfJD variable. And then the resulting joined dataset is passed on to the mutate function. So we know that mutate function is used to create or modify variables in the dataset. So here using mutate function we are creating a variable called VSDT. So using asDate function, and then we are passing the character version of vital signs collection date, which is VSDTC. So we can make use of asDate function when we have the date values in ISO 8601 format in a character variable to convert it into numeric. So similarly we are doing the processing for RFSTDTC. So we are converting it into a numeric date variable. So in the next step, we are creating VSDY. So VSDY is created again using a conditional statement. So we are checking if VSDT is not missing and RFSTDTC is not missing. If that is the case, so we are checking whether VSDT is greater than or is equal to RFSTDT. So if this is the case, so we are obtaining the difference between these two dates and adding +1 to the difference. Otherwise, if this is false, so this will become false only if VSDT is less than RFSTDT. In that case, so we are just obtaining the difference between VSDT and RFSTDT. In all the other cases, we are assigning it as NA. So this is we have nested if else here. So we are checking whether both of them are not missing, and then executing this if then else when this condition is true. So when this condition is false, we are directly assigning NA to the VSDY variable. So which means as we cannot derive VSDY when what do you call, at least if the dates are one of the dates component is missing, so we cannot derive an VSDY. So we are assigning our missing value equivalent, which is NA, to the VSDY variable. So this is how we can create our study day variable in using R program. So let us take a look at the output dataset that we had. So here if we see, we have first fetched RFSTDTC, and then we have created two temporary variables VSDT and RFSTDT as numeric versions of this, and then used them to create VSDY. So I think we should have those temporary variables VSDT and RFSTDT here in VS01. So let us take a quick look at them. So here these are numeric equivalents. So though they are appearing in the format of YYMMDD10 dot, these are in the backend internally they are numeric variables. So we are making use of R code to create VSDY. So like earlier, so let us take a final comparison between the dataset which was generated using SAS and as well as the one which is generated using R. So if we see here, we have 9 records here, 9 records here. SysBP records are, so all of them are SysBP records. So we have the records sorted based on the values of date. So 10th Jan, 11th Jan, 14th Jan, 15th Jan, and so on till 2nd March. So we also have them sorted in the same manner. So let us quickly go through the VSDY values: -5, -5, -4, -1, 1 and 1 here, 2, 2, 4, again -2 here. So this is for second subject, I think. So -2 and then 1 here, and then here we have it as missing because RFSTDTC is not present for this subject. So we have the VSDY null because though we have VSDT, as RFSTDTC is not present, so we cannot calculate study day. So in fact, I think I might have said that we had data only for one subject, but in fact it is data for 3 subjects: 1001, 1002 and 1003. So for which the third subject did not have RFSTDT. So thank you for watching and keep learning.